found him in the morning. One dead cat, 3 blind mice. Folks said, well, that is a curious combination. But they were too late. The curious combination was alive the night before. Three little blind mice live low in the wall, with 3 little canes and 3 little hats small. Couldn't see the shadow, couldn't see the paw, couldn't see the killing machine they ought to have saw. One gray cat lived by the stove in the back, big torn ear and a stripe of black, claws like needles, eyes bright green, meanest looking mercy they had never seen. First one blind little wandered out for a crumb by the chair, tapped his cane once, said, anybody there? Cat raised his head, could have settled the score, but the little blind mouse touched his paw and said, warm floor. He could have been hunger, he could have been teeth, but a thing is not only what it's able to be. The 3 blind littles and the cat living like that, 3 little hats by a big welcome mat. They never saw fangs, they never saw threat, they only knew the friend who had not hurt them yet. The 3 blind littles and the cat, now imagine that, the law of the world with a crack in its back. They did not know fear, so he did not play the part. 3 blind littles, mice, mouses, and one unaccountable heart. He'd carry them gentle by the scruff of a coat, set them by the milk-bowl, keep the rain from their throat. One slept curled in the bend of his tail, one tapped out rhythms on an old tin pail. Third one talked plenty, said, cat, I suppose you're a big kind of mouse by the smell of your nose. Cat just purred with his face to the floor, like he did not care what a cat was for. They climbed on his back when the winter got mean, rolled through the kitchen like 3 blind little kings. He showed them the bread, he showed them the heat, never once showed them what he did in the street. Because outside the house when the moon went thin, the cat smelled where the 3 blind littles had been. Came crawling with their backs on high, the mouse full of law. Mice are for eating, that's all that we saw. But he knew their names, knew the weight of each tread, and a friend ain't a meal just because somebody said. The 3 blind littles and the cat living like that, 3 little hats by a big welcome mat. They never saw fangs, they never saw threat, they only knew the friend who had not hurt them yet. The 3 blind littles and the cat, now imagine that, a law of the world with a crack in its back. They did not know fear, so he did not play the part. Three blind littles, not mice, mouses, and one unaccountable heart. The other cat started with a joke on the stoop. Old boy's gone soft, old boy's gone strange, loopy. What has he got in that warm little room? Why does he guard what a cat should consume? Curiosity rose like a claw from the dirt, not born out of wonder, but born one hurt. One cat told two cats, two told 10. There's a traitor in the house who has taken my sin. And the gray cat heard them where the window leaked cold, sat the three blind littles down and said, do as you're told. Stay under the cupboard till I come back through. First blind little said, why? He said, because I'm asking. They could not see the tail go stiff, could not see his shoulders rise, could not see a friend become a wall between their lives and hungry eyes. They will say curiosity killed that cat. I'm here to tell you this. No, curiosity did not kill that cat. He was not curious like that. No. Curiosity wore the skin of a many-coated cat, walked in tins and wouldn't leave it alone. The cat had one choice, and that choice was not less but more. He knew exactly what was outside that door. Curiosity had found a cat happy at home, so curiosity devised a plan to get that cat to call it out from his home, get it outside, all alone. Curiosity belonged to the ones who could not leave the fucking thing alone. What kind of cat protects mice? What is he hiding? What is wrong with him? Why has he not eaten them? And because the world cannot tolerate every impossible kindness without inspecting it for fraud, they came to see. He came to meet them. First fight took place by the garden gate. Three came rushing in all at once. Official count says by end of fight he had put down 8, and he'd done it right. Second fight came by the water pen. He limped back in, but he came back in. The three blind littles felt blood on his fur that night. Said, Max, are you cold? Max, are you alright? He licked one hat, laid down his head, purred like thunder, never said. The last fight came before morning broke. No grand speech, no lightning stroke, only claws in the dirt and a terrible sound, and three little canes tapping on the ground. One blind little whispered, "That's him out there." Second said, "No, he is always here." Third held still with his hat in his hands, here in a war he could not understand. The three blind littles and the cat living like that. Three little hats by a blood-wet mat. They never saw fangs, they never saw threat. They only knew the friend who had not come back yet. The three blind littles and their cat. God, look at that. A law of the world coming down with a crack. They did not know fear till the quiet took his part. Three blind little mouses, hard stop, and one broken heart. When daylight came through, the townsfolk drew near, saw three little mice and a cat just lying there. Sheriff scratched his chin, preacher fixed his hat, said, "Well now, boys, what do we make of that?" Three blind mice and one dead cat. Everybody saw nothing, and that was that. Mice could not witness what they had been saved from. Cat could not speak from what he had become. Somebody said, "Curiosity killed him, I suppose." Nobody asked whose curiosity arose. Nobody asked why his claws had blood, why the yard was littered with torn up cats lying in mud. Nobody asked why the three little blinds sat by his body without making noise. Nobody asked why the smallest one said he was not dead when the world called him dead. He was alive and well, but now he is just dead.
A face remains a person. A wound remains a cost. And sometimes what gets called strange is the holy thing we lost.
The three blind littles and their cat.
Remember them like that. Three little fools on a guardian's back. They never saw monster, they never saw meat. They only knew love by the sound of his feet. The three blind littles and their cat. Let the world answer that. A killing machine who refused to attack. He laid down his teeth,
He laid down his art.
he laid down his art.
He laid down his art.
For three blind littles who could only know his heart.
The three blind littles and their cat.
Before the cruel fact, before one dead body made the story go flat, before everybody saw nothing and walked off of the mat, there were three living blind mouses and their living friend Max, who saw his claws,
The world did.
who knew his heart,
The three blind littles did.
who came to question the entitled hungry came, who died protecting
the cat without shame.
What killed the Max?
Not his own eyes.
What killed the Max?
Not his own eyes.
Curiosity finally said, surprise! What did the blind little see?
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
What did they know?
Who answered the call? Official account: 3 blind mice, 1 dead cat. Everybody saw nothing. And that may be all there is to say about the finding. But it is not all there is to say about that. Because before the cat was dead, before the room went quiet, before curiosity came nosing around, asking why love had broken the rules, there were 3 little blind littles who did not know they were supposed to run, and 1 cat who was finally loved without being feared.